How's it going, you guys? AZ Plyo 21 back again with another episode of our UFC save in WMMA 5. And here today we have UFC Fight Night FUMA versus CRUZ, a big fight in our bantamweight division between title challengers KAKERU FUMA. This kid has come a long way. He's 25 years old. You can see there a big win over Sergio Pettis his last time out. He takes on DOMINICK CRUZ at 135. His last fight, a win over Gilbert Melendez at featherweight, but coming back down to bantamweight for this one, and it should be a pretty good one. You can see they're ranked in the top 10 at both bantamweight and featherweight, still only 39 years old. Good card on hand, of course, and we're making our way towards UFC 308, Jones versus Overeem. Little reminder, I am going to be taking a quick about a 2 week or so break after 308 is concluded, just to give the save a little bit of time to breathe, kind of refresh, and all that good stuff. But yeah, it should be a good one. 4 title fights on that pay-per-view card, and yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. UFC Fight Night FUMA versus CRUZ. Let's take a look at our rankings first. As you can see, nothing really going on until we get to the middleweight division. Wellington Turman into the top 10 at middleweight. Congrats to him. Zagakmayev in the rankings at welterweight. Good for him. Nothing going on. Gregor Gillespie up to number 6 at lightweight. Dariush down to number 11. It looks like Soo Chul Kim moves down a little bit. Tony Gravely up to number 11. Good for him. Not much going on. At bantamweight, Murata Takami into the top 10. That's awesome. Kunitskaya only dropping to number 16. Women's flyweight, Shante Buote up to number 17. Newly ranked at number 17. Love to see that. And Jessica Andrade will probably be next in line for Rose Namajunas at strawweight, the number 1 contender currently after her win over Carla Esparza. Going to get into it. FUMA versus CRUZ, taking place in Arkansas of all places, going down south for a UFC fight card. Yancy Medeiros taking on Drew Dober at 165, and it's Medeiros getting the knockout win over Drew Dober, the 20th of his career. Moving right along, Peter Barrett taking on Raush Manfio, I believe in the lightweight division. Yes, it is in the lightweight division. Barrett's a big underdog to Manfio, but he gets the decision win after 3 rounds. Love to see it. Wants to fight Robert Watley next. Maxim Divnik taking on Luis Gustavo at 155, and it's Gustavo who takes the win. Moving right along, Chuya Kamikubo taking on Rafael Barbosa at featherweight, and it's Barbosa who gets the knockout punch with just 6 seconds left to go in round number 3. Be interesting to see. It'd be funny if the other guy was winning up until that point. Kevin Aguilar taking on Manny Bermudez in a good 145 matchup, and it's Kevin Aguilar getting the knockout in round number 1. This guy was ranked for a while, but he was on a 3-fight losing streak. Some pretty good opponents, but able to get a big win. May be ranked after that one. You never know. Wants to fight Robin Van Roosmalen. Gavin Tucker taking on Guan Wang. I believe that is also in the 145 division. A lot of times with these fight cards, you end up on the prelims at the very least with a lot of fights in the same division, just because of the way that I kind of go about booking and stuff. I usually see which division has the most fighters available, and I'll just, book as many fights as possible. Wang is the favorite in this one, and it is the Chinese fighter getting the win less than a minute into round number 1, and he wants to fight Ryan Hall. Danielson, Neves de Oliveira taking on Matt Sales here. Matt Sales looking for a big win in the 145 division, and it is Neves de Oliveira with a split decision after 3 rounds, despite being the underdog. Love to see that, the underdog getting a win. Pat Sabatini taking on Bubba Jenkins at 145. Very even fight between the two of these guys. Both of these guys are minus money essentially. So it is Pat Sabatini, however, who gets the submission in round number 1. 5-3 in the UFC, and he has had some pretty tough competition, so you like to see that. Oshkolik taking on Adrian Matase in the flyweight division, and it is Adrian Matase getting the win via decision after 3 rounds. He's 4-3 so far in the UFC. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, who has had quite a terrible time in this save, taking on Bruno Acevedo. This would be Mighty Mouse's 10th loss if he were to lose here. He is on a 3-fight losing streak and a no contest because of a drug failure. I mean, you can call that a loss, I guess. 4 fights. I mean, he's lost basically 5 out of his last 6 if you think about it, which is insane. He's not even ranked anymore, as he takes on Bruno Acevedo. But Mighty Mouse with a knockout. Less than a minute into round number 1, you gotta love it. But how was Acevedo doing before this? I mean, he was winner out of 4 of his last 5, so that's good, but just sucks to see that Mighty Mouse doesn't really have it in him anymore to be, you know, a top contender in the flyweight division. Leah McCourt taking on, I believe that was Caitlin Vieira. Yeah, Caitlin Vieira. In the featherweight division, I believe, unless Leah McCourt's moving down to bantamweight. Yeah, it is in the featherweight division. Neither woman on a fight team, but it's Leah McCourt getting the win via TKO in round number 3. Leah McCourt 5-2 now in the UFC. Her only loss recently being to Reina Miura and Cyborg. All right, Brian Boulon taking on Aman Zahabi. This is an interesting fight. Boulon 0-2 since joining here in the UFC after being the Bellator champion for quite a while, which is quite insane, honestly. Henry Cejudo and Umar Nurmagomedov, the people that he's lost to. Aman Zahabi, number 19 in the division, looking to get a win, and he does not. So the former Bellator champion finally gets his first UFC win over Aman Zahabi, despite not even having a fight team. 20th win of his career as well. Batraz Agnaya taking on Duran win in the light heavyweight division, despite being a full, 10 inches shorter than Agnaya. That is insane. Since coming back to the UFC, though, 3-1, good for him. He's ranked at number 21 in the division, and it is Agnayev, though, who gets the unanimous decision victory. Just basically a foot taller than him. That was to be expected. Charles de Bronx Oliveira taking on Brad Riddell in the lightweight division. De Bronx is the fighter of the year, according to the ESPYs this year, and it is De Bronx who gets the unanimous decision here today. Number 12 in the division. He was coming off a couple pretty shaky losses, but hopefully he can kind of get back into it. Still only 35, which is fairly young considering how long we've been going at it in this save. This is a very interesting fight here in our co-main events. Itsuki Harada taking on Weili Zhang in the strawweight division. Harada 16-1. As you can see, 9-1 in the UFC. Only loss being what I can imagine was probably a iffy decision to Svetlana Gotsik. Interestingly, number 18 in the division, taking on Weili Zhang, who's number 10. Coming off 2 straight wins, so this is a very weird fight for her to take, honestly. But, I mean, we'll see. Harada is a huge favorite over Weili Zhang here in our co-main event. And it is Itsuki Harada getting a win over the former champion in the second round. That is insane. Man, Harada must have some really good potential. A big win over a big opponent. She's probably going to be top 12, top 10. Main event time, KAKERU FUMA taking on DOMINICK CRUZ. DOMINICK CRUZ coming off a win over Gilbert Melendez after losing to Yadong Song for the interim bantamweight championship. KAKERU FUMA lost to Piotr Jan, got a big bounce back win over Sergio Pettis. His first main event in the save. Interesting to see what happens as we get underway with our main event here today. CRUZ gets a takedown. Attempting to pass guard. CRUZ fighting back. Knee strike to the ribs. Both guys just trading blows early on here in the first round. Changing strikes. Counter jab does not connect. Open up a feint. Time expires. Fun round to watch, apparently, and it goes to FUMA. Second round about to be underway. Sharp 1-2. Nothing significant lands. Left hook, low kick. Halfway through round number 2 now, here in our main event. Appreciate you guys, whether you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, as always. Oh, massive right hook to the jaw. CRUZ is out. Oh my goodness. KAKERU FUMA, 25 years old, the Japanese fighter, knocks out DOMINICK CRUZ here in our main event. Halfway exactly through round number 2. A lot of respect for DOMINICK CRUZ, praises his toughness. Love to see it. Love to see the young guys get big wins, because I kind of want to see, you know, more of the, you know, regen fighters, the young fighters start to come up and get into the top 10, start winning some important fights, just because it'll be interesting for the long-term health of the save for, you know, not the same main events over and over and over again. KAKERU FUMA beating DOMINICK CRUZ in our main event. Also a good result in the co-main event. Harada beating Zhang Weili. Less than 5,000 in attendance here in Arkansas. Pulled about 1.1 million in gate. Commercial rating of 98 is very good. However, no popularity changes. Were already popular enough. Were there any great fights on the prelims? We're going to go ahead and give it to... we'll give it to Oliveira and Riddell, because that one was a little more closer of a fight. First round finishes, we got Brian Boulon getting his first 100K, Mighty Mouse Johnson getting 100K, Pat Sabatini, Guan Wang, Kevin Aguilar, Luis Gustavo, and Yancy Medeiros all getting 100K. Love to see it. Still made a nice little profit. Appreciate you guys as always. As you know, we're making our way towards UFC 308, and once we conclude that pay-per-view, we'll go on a about 2-week break or so as far as the UFC save. But be on the lookout for the W3 save. As always, we're still making our climb towards the top in that local to global save. Got my football manager stuff, tennis manager also, match point tennis, and a lot of other stuff hopefully to come in the near future. See you guys as always. I'm AZPlow21, and I'll see you guys at the fights.